Good afternoon, grade 12s. In today's lesson, we are going to focus on the background of the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We are going to use the resources, the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, page 7 and page 12. Now, we have discovered that learners have problems when it comes to interpreting events in the novel simply because they have no background information. Now, what are the objectives of this lesson? Learners should be able to understand the background of the novel, to be able to relate to the events in the novel. Right, what is a novel? A novel is a long fictional story that is broken into chapters. The narrative or set of connected events which has one storyline. A novel is a reflection of the society in which it is set. So in the strange case, there are different genres of the novel, such as gothic, it's horror, there's science fiction there as well, there's crime and mystery, there's adventure, as well as sometimes you find you have romance, although in this novel we don't have romance. Now, let's look at the type of novel that we are looking at, right? It is the Gothic novel. It is aimed to entertain its reader through terror. Gothic novels are usually set in ruined or run-down castles or buildings that had once been beautiful but had been neglected. The protagonist of a Gothic novel is usually a fallen hero, and his identity is usually not revealed until the end. So in this case, our protagonist is Dr. Jekyll, who ends up being a fallen hero. Then the atmosphere is mysterious and sinister, and the weather reflects this sense of unease. Right, let's look at another type, the mystery and the horror part of this novel. Mystery novels keep the reader guessing until the end. They often include puzzling crimes such as murder in their plots. Horror fiction aims to scare and shock the reader. Horror novels deal with the reader's nightmares, hidden fears, and terror about the unknown. So there's the horror because we find that there is mystery about this Hyde, what drives him, how he is always taking part in acts of violence. Right. Now, another type is the science fiction novel. It's developed as a reaction to the explosion of scientific discovery in the 1700s, and is still popular today. Some science fiction shows the possible dangers of meddling too much with scientific discoveries. So in this novel, we'll realize how Dr. Jekyll meddles so much with chemicals until he gets to a point where he uses these chemicals and transforms to Mr. Hyde. So that is the science fiction part. Now let's look at the definition of the background setting, right? It refers to the time and place in which the action of the novel takes place. We understand the characters better if we know something about the place and historical time in which the novel is set. So it's very important for us to know what happened in the 19th century so that we understand what the different events that take place. Knowing the social, political, and spiritual ideas that were popular at this time make it easier to understand the events in the novel. So if you know the social norms in that time, spiritual ideas, political ideas, the different beliefs that people had at that time, it will help you understand the novel better. Now let's look at the plot of the novel. The plot of the novel is the storyline, right? A plot usually relies on some kind of conflict, either between characters or within a character or both. Now, the 5 main elements of a plot, let's look at them. Now there's the exposition. It introduces the main character, the setting, mood, and the basic conflict. Then we have the rising action. This is a series of events of the basic conflict leading to the climax. Now, what is the climax? This is the most exciting and important part of the story. Then the falling action is that it takes place after the climax, when the story starts winding down to the end. Then we have the resolution. This is the conclusion of the story. It helps us understand the plot in full. Right. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to have an activity where we are going to identify events in the novel that show the following elements of the plot. Where is the exposition, the rising action, climax, and falling action? Now, I'll give you an example of what the exposition is. The exposition, we are just basically talking about what makes us exposed to this novel. We get exposed to the idea that one Sunday afternoon, Mr. Utterson was taking a walk with his kinsman, Mr. Enfield. And as they did that, they passed through a door. Mr. Enfield relates a story about the door. Then, this is what leads us to Mr. Utterson being suspicious about this character called Hyde, and he investigates. So this is what we are exposed to. That makes the novel continue, because there's that suspense in understanding what happens. Then please, can you attempt this activity? All the best. Good luck.